Hello everyone, my name is Ms. Ruiz, and I wanted to join you today just to go over the Chapter 1 lecture notes that are available for you. I'm not going to touch on every slide just for the sake of time. I value your time and my time, so I'm going to do my best to touch on the most important rules that I've seen get missed or confused. So I want to make sure that you have that. If you have any questions, however, you can always feel free to text me. I'll have my number at the end. All right, let's get started. This is going to work for me. There we go. Obviously, success depends on learning your word parts and learning the rules for combining word parts. These are all very important, and we will use them throughout the entire semester and throughout this entire course. If you take midterm 2, you will also use this chapter throughout that entire course. So this is a foundational chapter along with chapters 2, 3, and 4. Specifically, 2 and 3 will be prefix and suffix. So let's get started on your word roots. So word root is a basic foundation of a word, and it's exactly that. It is the meat of the term. It is what we are talking about. In this example, cardiologist, what are we talking about? We're talking about one who studies the heart. Okay, so if we change that to pulmonologist, then we're changing exactly what we're talking about, right? We're still talking about somebody who studies it, but we're talking about someone who studies the lungs in that case. So your word root is really going to be that foundation. It's going to be what we're talking about. What's going to change is the context and the way we're using it. So suffixes that are added onto the end are going to kind of change how we're using that word part, but the meaning's still going to be the same. All right. This is something that many get confused with, and I really, really want you to get this locked into your mind, the difference between a word root and a combining form. I've seen so many get confused and they'll put in a combining form when it should be a word root. So a word root plus a combining vowel gives you combining form. So a combining vowel is typically an O, sometimes it can be an I. The whole point of a combining vowel is to aid in the pronunciation of our words, of our terms. It's easier to pronounce certain terms. Let's see if I can find an example. Here would be one of a combining form. So it wouldn't be myelectric, it'd be myoelectric. So ick in this case is our suffix, and I'm starting there because whenever we define a medical term, we always start at the end. We always start with the suffix. And then we go back to the beginning. So kind of imagine it like a train. We start with the caboose, and then we go up front to the engine, and then we work our way back, like you would normally read. So in this case, my is our first word root. My means muscle. And we add that /O, you can see at the bottom where it shows you the combining form. My plus the combining vowel O give you myo. Now this is combining form. So say you were taking a test and you saw it say, because you know your word rules, you know the word root from myo is, and you would just put my. All you're doing is dropping that vowel. So that's how you get your word root from a combining form. Don't get those confused. It happens quite frequently. All right, let's see. So a word cannot end in a combining form. You always have to have a suffix or something else there to finish it. So you would drop the combining vowel if it was a word root that can stand alone. You would add a suffix, and again, it makes the word either a noun or an adjective, excuse me. At the bottom, you can see we have a term that has 2 word roots. Megalo and then cardia. So actually it's an enlarged, okay, so this would be IA would be your pertaining to, okay? This is a pertaining to. Megalo means enlarged or enlargement. And then cardia is heart. We've talked about that one. So that's how you would break it down. You'd start at the end, go back to the beginning, and then read it. All right. I'm going to skip over the questions. You can ask those or read those. Suffix. Our suffix, remember, always comes at the end. It does not get a combining vowel. The word root that is it's being attached to is going to have that combining vowel if it's needed. Now, if a suffix begins with a consonant, such as the one that we have here in our example, cardiogram, we need that, otherwise it'd be cardiogram, and that just doesn't flow as easily. So cardiogram is going to be our term, gram is our suffix, cardi is our word root, and then O is our combining vowel. So cardi plus O is combining form. Okay? So then we just attach a suffix to that. So in this case, it is needed. And this next one, cardialgia, though we do have two vowels meeting together, that's okay. So cardialgia, as you can hear, it's easier to pronounce. It just goes right on. We don't need a combining vowel. We actually have two vowels joining. Okay, prefix always attaches to the beginning of a word. I'm going to give you two rules that I really want you to write down if you're taking notes. First one, prefixes never get a combining vowel. Never. Remember, word roots are the only one. Suffix don't even get it. Suffix can determine whether we need one or not, but the suffix itself does not get a combining vowel. So, prefix never gets a vowel. Second rule, not all medical terms have a prefix. There's a caveat, most have a suffix. There are some word roots that can stand on their own, but for the most part it will have a suffix. Prefix, not always. Alright, so an example here we have endocardium. Endo is our prefix, cardi is our word root, is the our noun ending, it's our suffix. Okay, so endo means within, cardi, heart, is our noun ending, so this would be like a pertaining to, inside the heart. So we do not need a combining vowel. We never get a combining vowel with the prefix. Alright, let's see, prefix is at the beginning, suffix is always at the end. Combining forms are used when there is more than one word root. You need a compound word, or when your suffix begins with a vowel, or not a vowel, a consonant. Oh my goodness, we'll get there. Alright, so this example of a compound term is we have two word roots. Now, Luco is interesting because it can be a word root or it can be a prefix. In this case, the context tells us that it's a word root. Now, don't get held up and go, oh my gosh, how am I going to know which one it is? I don't need you to know that specifically. I just need you to know how to break down the words. Okay, so don't get lost in the sauce too much with the what type of word part is it. Just as long as you know that Luco means white. Again, you don't have to know that right now. It's not on our list, but it will be. So osis, because we're talking about a blood condition, because we're talking about sight means cells, so we're talking about white blood cells. Osis, in this case, most of the time you hear osis with like a condition, like cyanosis, something like that. Osis, when you're working with blood parts, are going to mean an abnormal increase. So this would be an abnormal increase. Remember, we always start with the suffix. So abnormal increase of the white blood cells. See how we explain that? We were able to break it down. We know exactly what it means. Leukocytosis is an abnormal increase in white blood cells. Looks like I know what I'm talking about, right? I hope so. But anyway, that's how we do it. Here's another with the carditis. Remember, we don't need a combining vowel with that. And that I belongs to itis, not cardi. In this case, itis means inflammation. Itis is our suffix. Card means heart. So that's our word root. So remember, we're going to start at the end and then go back around. Now there's another term you're going to see when we talk more about our prefixes. Pan. I've got a little fun way to remember that. Just think you put it all in the pan. Pan means all. So in this case, pan would go on the front. So we would define itis. Then we would go to the front and define pan. And then we would define card, which is heart. So it would be inflammation, of all the heart. I hope that makes sense. And it was probably really backwards for you. I'm sorry. But that's how that works. Again, if you have any questions, I love questions, feel free to text me. I'll have my number at the end. All right, intracardiac. Again, ac is our suffix. We're going to use that first, pertaining to. Intra is our prefix, so that means within. Cardi, again, means heart. So this is pertaining to within the heart. Do you see how it breaks down? All right. Let's see. Pronunciation guidelines. We're going to go over a few word sounds. So we know the F, like febrile. Sorry, I always roll my R with that one. Has a F. Physiology, PH, has a F sound, right? So words with a J sound. Jejunum, genesis, gingivitis, gyrus. K sounds, kyphosis, cornea, chorion, quadriplegia, quadruplet. I don't know why I always want to switch that on the end. N, neonatal, pneumonia, knee. S, sarcoma, cervix. Psychology. Remember, you don't have to know what these mean right now. We're just learning about the sounds of them. SK, skeleton, sclera, schizophrenia. A Z sound would be like a zygomatic, xanthoderma, there is a xanthoderma because xantho means yellow. This is xanthoma, and then there's also xeroderma that has a X as well. All right, work through that. Kind of went through a little bit of your pronunciations. Okay, eponym. Eponyms are important because we have many of those in medical terminology. Eponym is a name of a disease, organ, procedure, or body function that is derived from the name of a person. Now, this person can either be the one who has discovered it, or it can be the one who first had it. Sometimes it can be the person who actually maybe augmented the first discovery of it. Maybe they found something different. So there are a lot of different eponyms. I know sometimes you'll hear Lou Gehrig's disease is the eponym of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. So you're going to have different things that we'll come across, and we'll note, we can note if they're an eponym or not. All right, we made it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helped. It was just a little quick video with some of the things that I wanted to make sure that you guys have down pat, because you are going to be using this throughout the whole semester. If you do have any questions, something wasn't clear enough, or if I went too fast, you can rewind back, or you can text me right here. Please excuse the mess behind me. I'm currently in the process of moving offices. Not going anywhere, just switching locations. So thank you again. I wish you much success. I'm always here for you. You are not in this alone. I love questions. I know I've said it already, but I love questions. All right. Have a great day, and thank you for joining me.